I have lost millions of dollars over the past 48 hours, mostly due to the orange man, Mr. Donald Trump, making an announcement that for some reason cascaded the entire crypto market into the worst crash we've ever seen. There are some differing opinions out there about how severe this crash was. Was it really called a black swan event? But let me tell you, in the FTX crash or the COVID crash, what we saw in terms of liquidations was not even $2 billion. What we saw just this night was $20 billion. Why? Even though Bitcoin and ETH didn't really fall as much, they fell a lot, Bitcoin made its first minus $20,000 day candle, and Ethereum also fell below 3,000. Some people still think that wasn't that much. But let me tell you right now, some altcoins fell by 99.9%. Atom. I don't even know what price Atom is usually at, right? I don't even know. All I know is that it fell to 0.01, practically zero. XRP was sitting comfortably at $2.80 or something and went to $1.12, $1.14 on another exchange, you name it, right? Just $1 and a little bit of change. Now, when I talk about me losing millions of dollars, there's two parts. One is my portfolio going down. Right? That's just all the coins I hold. That's multiple millions of dollars. Obviously, that's all down, but that's fine. Don't really care about that as the market bounces back and forth. So even though, let's say at the start, I'm down X amount of millions of dollars, right now, let's say I'm only down a few million. It's not that bad. I'm talking about losing the money. And the reason this hit me so hard, I'm still fine, right? I didn't make a video for a day because I'm just kind of recollecting the thoughts and rethinking the strategy and thinking what to do. The reason I got hit so hard is because of how severe the crash happened. And of course, when something like this happens and you're making videos all day about your crypto coins, you think, is this something I should say? Is it something I should mention? That also I, even though things look to always be good, can lose millions of dollars overnight. I thought about it for a second, then I realized, no, you know what? At the end of the day, I told y'all for a long time, my channel here is about my journey, how I'm going up in the markets basically, and what my plan is, how I'm doing it. And so the number one thing I should do is explain exactly how I lost so much, what my mistakes were, and how to prevent it. Because hopefully we can learn from this and do better. Because I always say, if you were able to make it once, you're able to make it freaking back in no time and way more than that, right? So that's the thought behind it. So let me just quickly explain what went wrong. First of all, this was a mass manipulation event is what I like to call it. And the reason I like to call it that is because there's a few strange things that happened. First of all, $20 billion got wrecked. It's such a ridiculously crazy number that I find it kind of odd. But more importantly, because some whales were depositing money minutes before the announcement from Mr. Trump. And if you're wondering, he basically said 100% tariffs on China. At the start, not that much happened. The market went down a little bit. And then after a while, all of a sudden, we saw a just absolutely crazy cascade. But here, for example, we see a whale deposited 1 minute before Donald Trump's speech announced the 100% tariff, and he shorted like crazy. A couple of others have done the exact same thing, and it's funny because some of these guys are up hundreds of millions of dollars in a freaking snap because they started shorting just minutes before Trump made the announcement. Now, to a certain extent, I'm going to say, hey, might not be manipulation, it might be just gut feeling. Because I've actually been warned by some that Donald Trump usually does this speech at the end of the markets because the markets then can tank because of it. But again, how sure can you be about those things, right? Then again, take a look at this. So at 9:30 a.m., crypto market at 4.1 trillion, near a record. 5:20 p.m., crypto market at $3.3 trillion, down 800 billion. That's $100 billion per hour for 8 hours straight. Now, this didn't really wreck me at all. It was only, this even was also fine. It was only this one candle that absolutely rinsed me. And when we're talking about rinsing, I'm talking about my long positions not being able to hold it. So let me just quickly continue on with the manipulation and then we'll talk about it. First of all, if you've lost everything, just know you're not alone. The amount of posts I've seen, the amount of, I don't want to say the word on YouTube, but the amount of offings I've read about here is kind of staggering, you know, and that's of course really, really sad. Here we go about the numbers, by the way. 1.2 billion COVID crash, 1.6 billion FTX today, 19.16 billion. And actually a lot of shorts got wrecked as well, funnily enough, huh? I guess on the way back upwards. Here we go, for example, another coin, not sure which one this is, 420 to 0.001, basically back to zero, absolute zero. Here, a person that's saved up for 6 years just got liquidated last night. And again, I'll talk about it a bit more about how red light therapy. I like that one, actually. That's a pretty funny post. That one we should skip, kind of. But so here's some more insider trading things, some more allegations. A whale. This guy has been publicly running up his account to 100 M's. He actually lost freaking $67 million overnight. Which, again, you may think it's a fool, it's crazy. Well, let me explain my story. So, if you guys know, I've been running a lot of bots, I've been running a lot of positions, and I always talk about portfolio leverage versus actual leverage. So, if you see me, which I had, let's say, a little bit over $2 million in bots, right? A little bit over, let's say, $4 million over on another exchange, a few $1 million over on Bybit. If you see my positions, just realize this. I almost always have enough money just sitting there in the account to cover it for about, let's say, 90% worth of a wreckage. And that basically means that if I have $10 million worth of positions open, I have at least $8 million in the account. Should be 10, of course, but I have at least, let's say, $8 million in the account to cover it so that it can go down significantly without me being hurt. Now, where it went wrong is that you still have to move the money into the right account, as it's always sitting in earn for me. That way you're still earning a couple $1,000s a day just from it being an earn. It's just, I'm just telling you straight up. Now, where it went wrong is the fact that I didn't expect it to happen that fast on exchange like Bybit, which is why my positions got absolutely rinsed. I did open another $1 million just quickly as the market was recovering. I mean, it's not low enough. And as you can see, it's really not that staggering. I'm only cashed out a few $1,000s. And you can see my opening price was $226, mostly because I was busy trying to save my positions. And here, if you look at Bitcoin, really, if I was primarily trading Bitcoin, it didn't really step outside the range even. So this could have just been a very, very nice buy opportunity. Nothing really crazy happened too much. It's just the fact that coins like XRP absolutely took a nosedive. And here you can see it, right? So within range would have probably been about $1.48, something along those lines. But it went way below that to $1.13 or something of this sort. Anyway, to get back to the story. So if we're looking at this account, for example, if we're taking a look at just these numbers, right? This is, for example, 400 plus 200, so $600,000, right? If I have $500,000 or $600,000 in this account, you can see now it has no liquidation price. Why? Because I've got more than $600,000 in the account just sitting there to make sure it can never get wrecked. I usually have this on every exchange, at least to a very, very low price. If XRP were to go to 0.01, I'd still get wrecked, but I like to take those chances. However, where I made a mistake is this was in the middle of the night. I added more to a lot of my bots, but it wasn't enough. I was prepared for about a 50-60% crash. And you may look at my bots and think, Dusty, I saw your liquidation price being this and that. I change it all the time. Whenever I go to sleep, very often I add a lot of money. And depending on the climate, I add a significant amount more. But you only prepare for such and such drawdown. Now, do I want sympathy? Do I want you guys to say, oh, I'm so sorry you lost? No. At the end of the day, my own mistake. And I'm a real man. I can take it. If I went to zero, maybe I'd make a completely different video. But obviously, I'm still doing okay. It's just a big mistake. You learn from it. And I really hope that a lot of y'all also are able to get through it. If we're just looking at this, for example, I don't think it's easy to realize that it's down more, I think like more than $2 million just on this account because the size here does not reflect it properly. But just know this wallet over here got absolutely rinsed, even though, again, I have enough money on the pot. You see, for example, on this XRP bot, I was not taking any you guys can't see. I was not taking any chance anymore. I just added a $200,000 worth of margin to the bot. I was like, you know what? I want to open something at least. Let me just, without thinking about it, add something to it. Oh, what a freaking day, guys. What a freaking day. So why did it go that low? Right? Well, there's a few things that were interesting. One is exchanges got absolutely wrecked. This was, first of all, the worst day in history. Exchanges got absolutely wrecked. Some of my positions actually got saved because the exchanges did not work properly anymore. And some most likely got wrecked because the exchanges didn't work properly anymore. And if you start looking at some of the lows that coins made, this is not even true. XRP went way lower, but it depends on which exchange, right? SUI, for example, went from what? Almost $3.70 to 54 cents. So let's say it's down like 75% or so. A lot of coins went down 80%, 75%. And here comes the kicker, the duality in all this. If you were behind your computer, paying attention, you could have bought Doge at 9 cents. You could have bought XRP at 125, and that, ladies and gentlemen, gives me the motivation. it makes me realize, man, even though I'm on the selling side here, I'm the sucker side, goofball, because I lost a lot. If I was just not as busy trying to save my positions, I could have actually bought these coins at significantly low prices and basically double, triple, quadruple my money overnight, which some people have done. Now, some of you might say, oh, but see, leverage is always bad, and I disagree. In many cases, it can actually be quite nice depending on how much you're trading with or your strategy. And again, remember, if only I was awake for this when it happened, properly awake, it would have not happened. If only I was not a little bit greedy going for the 𝗲𝗏 protocol and just keeping my money in the account or just adding a bit more to warrant a 70% dump like I always say you should expect for, it would have been fine. And the amount of money I would have made overnight here is just ridiculous. Why? Because the bot trading strategy was exactly meant for this. The only problem is this was more of a black swan. If it went down, let's say 50%, hey, all good in the hood. But because it went down slightly more than that, and again, I was not mentally prepared for that, we got wrecked. We learn, we live, we learn. By the way, still government shutdown, huh? I'm looking at all these different accounts. A lot of people are lying, but also realize this. A lot of people are not lying. So maybe you're seeing a person who lost 10 million or 25 or 65 million. For some of these, their accounts are public. So 𝗬𝗏, for example, you can actually see his account got rinsed for $67 million. It's just something you can see. A lot of people have lost years worth of work overnight. And again, part of it is greed, you may say, because over leveraging. And part of it is also just pattern recognition. You expect a certain amount of flushing to happen, but I guess you can't always prepare for a minus 70% crash. And again, that is also shown in the numbers, the fact that we've gone down on some coins 99.9%. On the one hand, it makes you realize crypto's a freaking scam, man. The fact that something can drop to absolute zero, like Atom, to a certain extent, I'm thinking, man, what the frick does that mean, right? For the entire coin, for the entire industry. Here's 𝗕𝗫𝗪𝗏. He got fully liquidated. He was plus 45 million. Now minus 10 million on his account. Absolutely rinsed. It was fun while it lasted, he said. But again, I always say, they'll make it all back. These guys, if they were able to do it once, they'll be able to do it a second time, if not better. Here we go about the Atom, by the way. Here's a 𝗕𝗫𝗪 that had a post. It was actually as a response to me saying, I've never lost this much money in a single day. Actually insane. So maybe later on I'll make a video about exactly how much money I lost, because it's actually quite interesting as a case study for some people maybe. But the reason I call it lost and not just I'm down is because, again, there's a big difference. My portfolio is down a lot, but it actually recovered for the most part. When I'm looking at it, it's not that bad. The only thing that I care about is these positions being gone forever, and that I had enough money in my accounts to save them, but I was just careless and didn't actually put it in the proper spot. Now, again, some of these things like here, it's very tragic what happened to, I don't want to cover those too much. And again, I can start covering, I think, hundreds of different stories about how people got rinsed. Some would say the story is don't use leverage. I keep saying that in reality, most of the time, it can actually benefit you the most, except for scenarios like this in which you get rinsed. But I will counter myself again for the 10th time by saying, if you were leverage trading and actually revenge trading this one, you could have bought XRP at $1.12 with some leverage. You might have actually retired your entire freaking family by being at the right place, the right time. So again, it's a double-sided thing. Some people call it the G word, gambling. I still say it differently. Depending on your strategy, it's not. It's just, it all depends on risk management. 2 weeks ago, Jim Cramer said to buy crypto. Today, crypto market had the biggest crash in history. Liquidated for 75% of my portfolio. A bunch of spot I had converted to a 2x long. Got licked on Wix on Hyperliquid just now. Probably going to reassess my life. Again, if you're doing bad, if you're not feeling okay, maybe perhaps join the Discord, send a message. There's probably a lot of other people who are in the exact same position. And you realize that the consensus, the conclusion should be, if you got your ass kicked, you're just part of the crew, man. A lot of people lost their entire life savings. A lot of people lost everything they've worked for a lot of freaking years. But it just, in my opinion, should give you more motivation to make it all back and more, because you can. Even if you're back to square zero, right? You have $0 in your freaking bank, you'll make it back. You make it back and more. This is the motivation. If you can't think that way, I can't help you, right? I really can't, because that's the way it's been for me. I've lost my money many times over, but it's never been as bad. But obviously, that's also the case. The more money you get, the more you can lose. At some point, you got to realize Elon Musk, in portfolio damage, not actually losing, but still, let's just count it for the time being, can lose maybe $50 billion in a day. And I'm crying here over some millions of dollars, right? Just how another person is crying over $3,000 or another person is crying over $45 because that might mean the world to him. It's all relative, and I kind of, to a certain extent, hope that the more I get, the more I also lose, but just not lose in this way. I like losing it in portfolio value, not in actually my positions getting destroyed. Then again, I do to some extent also wonder why we went down this much. Why did a lot of coins go down 80, 90, 55, 70%? Why down this much? It is something I do question, because you're seeing here minus 34% on XRP, but that's at 183. It went to $1.12. Ahmed posting here, the first time in my life I'm down 8 figures on the day. I feel your pain, my brother. It's just so insane. Never seen anything like this in my life, rookie posts. I have never seen it also. And I've been here since 2017 every single day. And yet I've never seen a day like this, nothing even close. Interesting. Sticking my neck out and calling BTC bottom here. 112.5k liquidation cascade bottom. And it went to 101, I think, for Bitcoin. It is, 1.7 trillion wiped up from the US stock market. Welcome back to the trade war. Trump, US to impose 100% tariff on China starting November 1st. And again, I saw this news when it came out, and I thought, it's not that big a deal, because the market didn't drop that much instantly. Well, it did. Imagine this person is short. He opened a $1.1 billion short just hours or minutes before. I think he's up a few $100 million, right? I don't know if it was $300 million or $700 million that he was up. Absolutely crazy, but yeah. Interesting to watch all this. I hope you guys are all doing okay. And if you're not, just remember, you'll get through it, all right? It's all temporary. This money comes and goes, and the more that you can lose, the more that you can also win. It kind of sounds counterintuitive or strange, but I always like to say it like this. The fact that you lost a lot means you had a lot to begin with, and all you got to do is just grind in, lock in harder, work even harder. Because at the end of the day, I really also realized I got a bit lazy, all right? Comfortable position, things were doing good. I got lazy. Got to run it back up harder than ever before. Of course, I'm not the person to revenge trade too much by opening something too risky. No, I want to do it in a calculated, smart, and logical manner, but just work harder, get it done. And I'm sharing the story here, hopefully so I can make somebody realize that, hey, it's not the end of the world. All right, I also am a human being. I can make mistakes. My personal mistake mostly was just being that I thought about moving more percentage-wise money into the account to save it. I didn't, just kept it and earned nice and writing. Maybe it earned a few $1,000s a day, sure, but that didn't really weigh off against the millions that I lost. But hey, such is life. We'll make it through. We'll get up there. We're going to do better than ever before. And Orange Man, he screwed us. Nice manipulation, though. At the end of the day, 2 parts I don't really fully get. Why he said it, why he does it, and why the market's dumped so much, and whether or not this is like an insider thing just to make schmeckles. I don't know, but that's about it for this video. Again, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for people who understand. All I want to do is share the story, hopefully help one person out. That's it.